neighbors are not gonna like this. How is it going, guys? Drew Peacock back with another video. I gotta keep it a little quiet. They're already gonna get mad at me starting this car. But today we're gonna take the ZR1 to dyno and we're gonna see just how much power the new parts are going to add. Now, if you missed the install video, we installed a new 2.6-inch Lingenfelter pulley. Gonna add a few pounds of boost with that, and the Fuel Injector Clinic 1200cc injectors. Both of these parts are going to allow us to run more boost and more fuel. Pairing that, gonna make more power. Makes sense. And that's why you should pick up a set of Fuel Injector Clinic injectors, because not only are they gonna make you faster, but your car's going to be safer with all of the great features that they have. Stainless steel construction, very consistent and reliable. From injector to injector, you're gonna have some great idle, you're gonna have some great wide open throttle. They are just top of the line injectors, and you need some. So shop down below. But anyways, yeah, we gotta get this thing out, we gotta move that, and we gotta go to dyno. Place your bets down below. With those parts we added, allowing us to run full E85, how much power are we gonna make on the dyno? Comment your bets down below, and the closest one gets a cookie, and I'll bake it for you myself. Anyways, let's hop in the vet and let's head down to Balto Performance. Alright guys, so we are about to put the car on the dyno. We just got it off the trailer. I'm not quite sure if we're going to be able to put it on the actual dyno because it doesn't quite run yet. So maybe we'll get like a base map on there first and then drive it off. I'm not sure. I'm not a tuner. I have no idea what we're doing. But then we can finally see exactly how much power this thing's putting out. If I had to guess, I'm hoping we break 700, which would be about 100 more than we're making right now on 91. So we'll have to see. I don't think this light's supposed to do that. Okay, now we're good. All right, so we had a little oopsie. Luckily, Johnny and the other guy there pointed it out. Since I idled the car like an idiot with large ass injectors, we kind of flooded the oil with fuel. So we're gonna do an oil change just to play it safe. Again, Johnny kind of...
Yeah, so what I was explaining is it's kind of like an old nitro funny car, how you start with 4 quarts oil and end up with 8. You're just giving it so much fuel that it blows by the rings.
Yeah, which makes sense because, dude, it was smoking like a motherfucker. But again, it sounded cool. I had to get the chopping clip for you guys. But yeah, we regret that. So we'll go get some oil. We also need, I guess, the 91, so we'll do all that at the same time. And then, yeah, they're strapping it up right now. So you're gonna have to sit on my lap, Johnny. All right. Johnny's down there working for free.
Oh, yeah.
So we got it pissing out right now. We got the oil. It's strapped down. Everyone's saying, you need a spacer. Dude, suck my balls.
To the viewers, it's crazy.
No, not to those saying I need a spacer. Oh. Yeah, exactly. Not to the viewers, unless they're saying it. I mean, dude, if I had a spacer right now, it would be rubbing so bad. So, yeah, hopefully we're good. All right, we just drained out as much as we could, and that killed the battery. We put a few gallons of 91. Hopefully that's enough. I mean, we don't want to put too much because we do have to put E85 in afterwards, so we don't want to oversaturate it with 91. So we're gonna start the 91 tune. Johnny was kind enough to buy in and out on Johnny's dime. Nah. So we're gonna eat right now. But thank you, Johnny. All right, we got the car on. Let's place our bets. How much is it making on 91?
Oh, is it on 91 right now?
Yeah. You thought that was E?
I didn't know what it was.
Oh.
I'm gonna say 600 even.
That's what it made last time.
On E40 though.
No, it made 620 on E40. It made 595 on.
Oh, well then 640 will say.
640.
Yes.
Okay. So that was another 91 pole. We're not revving it out all the way yet, and we're already at 609. It's a pretty healthy looking graph. 592 torque, 6,000 RPM. Not bad. Can't complain. All right, so I don't know if you guys can hear me. We just finished up the 91. It wasn't really 91. It was a little bit of E, so we were at like E30, E20, which isn't ideal. We weren't able to get out all of the E that was already in there, and that's because the Corvette has like a 2-hump tank. I don't know how to explain it. Essentially, there was some E in there. We couldn't get it out. Boo-hoo. That being said, we're having a major charging issue, which isn't ideal. Apparently, it's very common for the starters on Corvettes to just draw current because of a loose connection. They have a plastic fucking housing holding together the connection for the wire going from the alternator and the wire going from the battery. They meet there, and it's a plastic housing connection that holds that. So if you over tighten it, it snaps. It's just a whole shit show, so we're just not touching it. We're getting like high 12s while we're driving on the dyno, which is not ideal. But we could see at the alternator, it's making 13.9. So again, still not ideal because the computer isn't getting that 13.9, but we can't do anything. We just can't do anything about it. So we got the we got the E85 in the tank. He is doing the drivability right now. We're like just starting to ramp in like the fuel map. I don't know how it all works. I'm not a tuner. I don't know what I'm talking about. But hopefully we start making some power, because on that 91 mix, it only made like 615. And again, it's a very conservative, just driving to the fucking wherever I'm going type shit. I told him I don't use 91. I'm not gonna race on 91. We just need it from get to point A from point B if in a pinch. The E85 is where it's at. On that note, however, we weren't able to pump out what was already in there. So that E30 mix, E32 I think he said, now we threw in 10 gallons of E85. Hopefully that's enough to get it to at least E70, and we're good. Because E70 and E85, typically they tune the same because not all E stations give out E85. So if we get to E70, we're good. Hopefully I get that answer real shortly. All right, well, I got some semi-bad news. We're at E57. Now, that being said, he said E60 is about where he starts to draw it. You know, like that's his safe limit. So if we can get to E60, then we should be making just about the same amount as we would on other fuel types. But I'm still not, like we're at E57. We need a little bit more E in the tank. I'm just hoping I don't hear an explosion, but we need E60, so we got to figure that out. All right, we're gonna do, I think, a poll right now. I'm not sure. We'll have to see. So on that pole, he stopped revving it out because my dumbass left the mufflers closed. And he's actually saying he thinks these mufflers are potentially robbing it of power, which isn't a good thing. Now, I know I was sent these mufflers, but full transparency, he thinks that these mufflers are stealing power. He says he thinks it's quieter with the valves open compared to just ZR1 mufflers. And he also thinks that we're losing power with it. Again, valves open or valves closed, he's noticing a difference, which makes sense because my graph's not looking like I thought it was gonna look. And I don't wanna blame the mufflers because I do like the mufflers and I like how they sound. But if they're robbing power, they gotta go. So we're gonna do the same poll with the mufflers open and see if that picks up anything, but he definitely thinks he can notice a difference, and that's not good. That one though made 661 with the valves open. So E57, 661. We're not too far off from where I want to be, but we're also not E85, and we have a potentially choking exhaust. So all things considered, not too bad. I think if we had more E and the exhaust was the OEM one, we'd be seeing, I don't know, another 20 horsepower. All right, boys, it's the next day, and honestly, I don't even remember where we left off. Yesterday is a bit of a blur. No, I didn't drink or anything. We were just up so late, I didn't get home till like 3 a.m. that I don't even remember what the last thing I recorded is. All I know is I'm pretty bummed out. Now, there's a couple issues that we got to resolve, and I'm not going to let a couple issues stop me from being happy. So instead of living with problems, we're going to solve them today. I already went to my storage unit and I grabbed my OEM exhaust because I probably mentioned yesterday, we're pretty confident that the aftermarket exhaust we tossed on is choking it. And when we pull it off, I think we will see why we believe that. And with the new exhaust on, we should see, I don't know, 15, maybe 20 more horsepower out of it, because he is saying that he's noticing it a lot. Like, he could tell it's choking the car. So I'm gonna kind of clean this shit up in here, pull this out, pull in the vet, put it on the quick jacks, and we'll get to wrenching on it because I don't go down without a fight. So let me really quickly handle all of this, and then we will see how the two exhausts compare to each other. And hopefully, tonight or tomorrow, we go back and we answer the goddamn question at hand. Is it the exhaust, or is my car just a dud? All right, so the car is a good 2 feet off the fucking floor thanks to quick jacks, but here's the muffler system. So personally, I don't think it's the muffler itself, because this is a true 3-inch muffler. And I mean, one would assume with the valve wide open, it's just flowing right past it. So I don't think it's the muffler itself. However, I do think the crush bends on the piping that they made, I would assume this is what's choking it. If you look, it goes from like 3-inch to, I don't even know what this is, 2.5. So yeah. But yeah, if I had to place money on it, these couple bends are where we're losing it. I mean, when we get it off the car, you'll have much better lighting. I know you guys can't really see up in here, but it really does shrink down. So hopefully it comes out pretty easily. That's the story of my life, though. It never does. So I'm going to start ripping it out, and hopefully we get it out within, I don't know, 30 minutes maybe. Let's get to work. All right, so I got the exhaust out, and look, I don't want to be rude because like they hooked it up, they installed it, and it worked great for my previous boost level. But when you add boost, you also need to free up flow. Like, you need it to exhaust the gases faster, and I think I found the issue right here. So yeah, check out. Look at those bends. I mean, again, they made this custom. So like for 90% of cars, this is fine. Because, you know, you're not a high horsepower application. You don't have too much boost going through. This is fine for most cars. But for a performance car, I don't know if you want it to do all that. So this is actually the better one of the two. Let me show you the other one. This one, check out those angles right there. And then, oh my God, that is not ideal for flow right there. That is not ideal. So I mean, yeah. Now, I did talk with someone at the shop and they did say they could go ahead and do mandrel bent, so that way we don't have this issue, but I might just leave the OEM exhaust. Nothing against Valvetronic, nothing against the other shop, but if the OEM exhaust is a true and tested method, and I've seen high horsepower ZR1s on the OEM exhaust, and I did like how quiet the OEM exhaust got while the valves were closed, I might as well just leave the OEM exhaust. So we'll see. Again, we'll see if this is actually our issue. We'll throw in the OEM exhaust and I'll actually show you side by side what the difference is, and you can see why this might be an issue. Okay, so here's the OEM mufflers. Once again, they're valved, so when they're open, they're straight through. They have big ass cans, but they're valved. And this is how it should look. Now this is obviously, again, an OEM system. So this is, you know, made in GM's factory or whatever. It's not made at an exhaust shop. So again, I'm not expecting this level of quality per se on something made on the spot, but that's how mandrel bent piping should be. The only thing I don't like about it is it does taper down once, like right before the muffler. I don't know if you guys can see that, if the lighting is working, but it does taper down a little bit, but it's full 3-inch whole way. And yeah, this is what should give me probably a minimum of like 20 extra horsepower. So I sent that to my tuner and he just put, oh my. So yeah, let's go ahead and toss these back in. I'm gonna clean them up a little bit too before we do that. And then yeah, we'll see, hopefully we can get on dyno today. And without changing anything else, we'll see if this actually freed up like 20 horsepower. Now, once again, this doesn't necessarily mean that I was down horsepower before, but since we added boost, we need better flow. So with that extra 4 pounds of boost and that extra exhaust gas going through, that was probably a choke point. So not saying that this wouldn't work for other cars. Again, I'm not trying to diss anyone or talk smack, but I'm just trying to point out we might have found the issue. It's not a big deal. We at least still have the OEM pipes, so this will all bolt straight back in and we can confirm my suspicion. It might not be an issue, though it might have been perfectly fine, but we'll know eventually. Let me get cleaning on these and see what I could do. All right, so a couple hours later, we have the OEM exhaust back on the car. Now it's just loosely in place. I'm gonna make some minor adjustments, make sure everything is straight and level how I want it. But I do like how it looks. Like, it is still a good looking exhaust. There ain't nothing wrong with it. You can also see some of my polish fell inside, so I gotta really wipe that out. But yeah, it was a little harder to get the OEM one back in than it was to remove that. That came out in, I don't know what, 5 or 10 minutes. But I had to do a bunch of shit to squeeze this back in. I had to loosen this up and hang it down, and then I had to disconnect my mid pipe to feed it back in. So it's a lot easier to remove shit than it is to put it back in. It's just because these cans are so massive. It wouldn't clear like anything, but it is back in. I'm gonna go ahead and tidy everything up, make sure the car runs and drives, make sure my switches still work, and yeah, we should be back at dyno in a little bit. Hopefully. We'll see if there's a slot for me to just slide in. But yeah, not a bad day. So I just finished up installing the factory mufflers, and everything's torqued up, everything is nice. The mild to wild switch still works, so I'll go ahead and demonstrate that to you really quick. Let's go ahead and hop on in. So this is the remote to do it right here, and essentially if we turn on the car, you can hear it's really quiet. Well, if we press this button, now it's louder. I'll show you how it sounds from the rear, because I'm sure in here it's not that different. So essentially, we have a factory exhaust back on the car. If I'm rolling through a cop checkpoint or anything, if there's a cop around, it sounds dead quiet, and inside the car, it will be a lot quieter as well. But we didn't do this for sound. We did this for the performance. So with it in its open mode, it's obviously still a straight pipe, so we're getting, you know, straight pipe performance in a sense. But with it closed, since it's a much larger muffler, it's gonna perform a lot better than this little muffler when it's closed. So now the only thing left to do is to go back to dyno. All right, we got the car strapped up. We're gonna let it cool off for a little bit. And I'm actually gonna be doing the Dyno Hits. So we just watched an instructional video on how to do it, and we're gonna be pros after today. But yeah, we'll just do 1, maybe 2 hits, and just see what the difference is. I'm betting, I don't know, at least 20 horsepower. We'll have to see. They're saying it almost seems like the car had cats. That's how restrictive it was. So we'll know after 1 or 2 pulls. All right, so my dumbass let off too early. Dude, it's scary. Doing a pull in there, you just see the speedo doing 100 and something, and you're just like, oh fuck. But I let off too early. I was looking at the wrong needle inside the cluster, and I'll explain that right now. But yeah, so we're about to pass what we made last time, and our oil's not even fully up to temp. But like the air fuel looks better here. Eric pointed out. And did we make more torque? No, not yet. So.
No, both lines are up below.
Yeah. So we're hoping with the oil up to temp and actually revving it out, we surpass all that. So we'll have to see. But all right, so not quite what I was expecting. We actually are down on power, but I think there needs to be an adjustment because if we look way up top, we are leaning out, which would kind of make sense if we change something. So the car isn't super happy right now because we either freed up too much flow or something. I'm not a tuner. I don't know exactly how it works, but yeah, we are leaning out a little bit up top, which isn't a great sign. So I'm gonna send this to my tuner, see what he thinks. It's also like 90 degrees out compared to like 60 or 70 degrees when we were tuning the other night. So that plays a factor, but like still, I feel like something's up either with the tune or the car just isn't happy in general right now for some reason, and I don't exactly know why. So, I mean, we're gonna unstrap it. I don't think we're gonna get more power if we just keep beating on it. Yeah, I mean, the oil will technically thin out too because we did that pull at 150-ish, 160-ish degree temperature because we're letting it cool for like 30 minutes before runs. And if we get it too far up to temp, then the intake air temp and everything from it just sitting here gets high as well because we're not actually driving. So yeah, it's kind of like just, you know, we're fighting, we're picking and choosing our own battles to fight. So not super thrilled with everything that we're finding out, but the car's still in one piece, so it isn't the end of the world. And we did ultimately make more power than the old setup. Just not quite what I wanted. And this is still with the E50 that we had last time, so we're still not full E85. When we're full E85, I assume, I don't know, at least another 20, maybe 30 horsepower easily. So we'll be where I want to be, but we're just not quite there yet. So we're gonna unstrap the car and get the hell out of here, and I will see you guys back at home. All right, well, I'm on the fence on where I want to stand with this because I do think the exhaust obviously was an issue. I mean, if my tuner's saying it's an issue, if the mechanic is saying it's an issue, then it might be an issue. Like, it just makes sense that way. That being said though, we weren't able to prove it today, so do with that info what you want. Now, personally, I think since we are noticing it lean out, maybe one way or another, the car is used to the weirder, more back pressure, and now we're making slightly less boost or something, so the car's trying to compensate one way or another. I don't know. I'm not a tuner, once again. I don't know how cars react to certain things like that, but that's just my guess. I showed it to my tuner who wasn't there today, and he said it could probably use an adjustment, so we're gonna go ahead and do an adjustment, but this time around we're gonna do a full adjustment with actual E85 so we can actually see what these mods will do. So we're definitely up power, 40 horsepower to be exact, using pretty much the same E-blend as before, which makes sense for adding, you know, 3 or 4 PSI. I think we're probably around 3 PSI. So again, it makes sense for adding 3 PSI, we're up 40 horsepower. Now, if we go full E85 and we make the adjustments for the exhaust, we might be up another 20 or 30. We'll have to see. But for now, that's it. I have it parked on the street right now because I'm about to wash it and I have to move those cars. So I'm gonna wash this thing, get it ready for Cars and Coffee tomorrow. Hopefully I wake up in time and I'm able to go. So if I see any of you guys there, feel free and come say hi, come check out the car, check out the wheels that I spent a lot of time polishing. But anyways, that is all I have for you guys for today. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this. Whole lot of dyno pulls. Car feels great. Once we do the full retune, we'll go out and we'll do a reaction video and stuff and have some fun with the car, but it feels great. Lastly, I want to give a big shout out to Fuel Injector Clinic for sending out those fuel injectors. The car feels great at idle, wide open throttle, never has a hiccup. It just feels great. Beautiful injectors, very consistent. Make sure to shop and use the discount code if I have one right here and pick up some fuel injectors for your car. Anyways, until next time, peace. So immediately after I just filmed that clip, I actually got back in the car and tried to turn it on, and it was dead. It was dead in the water, which is a sign of some sort of charging issue. What we think it is the alternator is trying to supply power to the ECU and the whole car, plus recharging the battery at the same time because of that faulty connection at the starter. Again, it's a very common issue. A lot of Corvette owners have to deal with this. It's very common. So we either need to bypass that connection point or just get a new starter, or both, and that will fix the charging issue, which is more than likely causing us to have the low horsepower number. What we think is happening is way up top, we're demanding more fuel, and the fuel pump module that controls the PSI and the voltage going to it is asking for voltage that we cannot give it. I'm cruising around at 12.8, which is horrible. I mean, if I'm sitting at 2200 RPM at 12.8, you can only imagine how dog shit of a voltage we have way up top when there's so much draw on the system. So although the exhaust could be a contributing factor, more than likely it's an electrical issue. So once my tuner gets back in town, we will have the electrical issue all squared away, and we will retune with full E85 and see what this car can do. So hopefully that kind of helps answer some of our questions, and hopefully that is the solution. But anyways, just thought I'd let you guys know what I found out, and until next time, peace.